Hey everybody, Tim here with today's episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Season 6, Episode 1, A Time to Stand. So this is usually considered like an unofficial first episode for a six-part continuation. It's not necessarily like each episode's not like to be continued, but that's usually how people think about it. And that's kind of going back to, as I've said with Deep Space Nine, how it is a very story arc driven episode. And these 6 episodes do kind of flow into each other one after the other, which I like because so the last episode of season 5 and this episode of season 6 are not direct episodes. It's not a part 1 and a part 2, but I like how when they do the recap and they're like previously on, and then usually they'll say like, and now the conclusion or something like that. Whereas this time she goes, and now the continuation, to kind of emphasize how this is going to be a continued thing. So it has been 3 months since the war officially begun and everybody evacuated the station. And most of this episode is just kind of about Cisco and just everybody in Starfleet going around trying to basically take out the Ketracol White, which is the chemical that the Jem'Hadar are hooked on. And like fleet after fleet are just getting annihilated. And just overall, like the morale is really down because it's a war and it's a difficult thing. So the episode has to do with they're trying to find a secret technique on how to do it. And so they go back to the ship that they found in the episode The Ship. And it was the Jem'Hadar one that had crashed. And if you guys remember, like the founder was hiding the whole time. So they go to that, which they'd been working on, and they're using it to kind of basically blend in and try to get around. And the first thing that they notice is like there's no food replicators because Jem'Hadar don't eat. There's no medical bay. There's no view screen. There's nothing like that. And it's kind of funny because I'm sure a lot of you have seen like the memes where it's like Star Trek was so ahead of its time because they had the flip phone and it has a picture of Kirk with the phone. And then it's like they had the iPad and it shows Captain Picard with a pad. And then it says they had Google Glass. And this episode is where the picture of Cisco and he has like the half a glass thing covering his eye. Whatever happened to Google Glass? Like, didn't it come out like 10 years ago? Like, I feel like everybody should have one by now, but I don't know. I never hear about Google Glass anymore. Anyway, so that's where that meme came from, is this episode. And it's basically about them just trying to get to one of those asteroids and take out a Ketracol White factory. And spoiler alert, they are successful, and it's kind of interesting. They run into some obstacles where like randomly a field comes down and they can't escape, so they have to like try to time it just right so they do escape. During the subplot, we see Kira, Odo, Quark, and Jake basically trying to survive on the station. And there is a really great scene towards the end where like Odo just feels useless, like he's not getting anything he wants. And Weyoun and Dukat kind of have this back and forth relationship where Dukat wants to be in charge and Weyoun's like, go ahead, be in charge. But anytime Weyoun wants something more, he overrules. And Odo comes in and Weyoun just drops to his knees and he's like, Founder, what do you want? And Odo's like, I want my Bajoran like guards back in place. And Dukat's like, no. And Weyoun basically is like, shut up. Odo, you want it, you got it. And Odo's like, and I want him armed. And Dukat's again, he's like, no. And Weyoun's like, yes, my master. And it's a really great scene to watch him kind of go back and forth. And then like the only thing Odo or Weyoun asks for in return is that Odo sits on the council, and Odo's like, yeah, sure, fine, that's okay. But overall, I felt like this was a good episode. It was a good start to going into the season. It kind of sets the tone for how this is going to play and what it's like to be at war. Because for the most part, like the Next Generation, like we never really saw a war. We always saw like a 2-part and you're done. We've been dealing with the Dominion for over a season now. So this is really interesting and it's really important. So for those who have watched or are watching this or have seen this episode, what did you think about it? What did you think about seeing our crew not on the station? What did you think about the Jem'Hadar, the Ketracel White, the ship, and then Weyoun and Odo. And what do you guys think about Season 6 in general? Are you guys really excited? Did you think the season was a bust? Whatever you guys think, go ahead. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for the subscriptions and everything. You guys are all amazing. And I will see you guys next time for Rocks and Shawls.